I play Division III baseball, but I don't throw as hard as I need to, and I struggle at times with precise pitch location. My velocity is below the D3 average of around 82 to 85 miles an hour, and I'm not as mobile or as explosive as I should be on the mound. Back in the fall, I was over 195 pounds and throwing in the mid to upper 70s. But after intentionally losing 10 pounds during the winter and then unintentionally losing another 12 due to a tough bout with bronchitis in the spring, I've noticed a real drop in velocity and overall strength. I know I've got work to do this summer to rebuild, get more explosive, and close the gap to be ready for next season. So let's fix that. I put together a good and balanced workout that I will use each week, which will help me reach these goals. Let's take a look at it. I've started to do 20 push-ups and 30 crunches every morning when I wake up and at night when I go to sleep. But in the first few weeks, I was struggling to even do 10, losing breath. But after a while, it's gotten a lot easier to do. It's important to stay consistent. On Mondays, I start by doing banded leg crosses down and back. This is good for opening up hips and glutes, critical for stride and rotation, prepares the lower body through active range of motion, and helps develop the mobility needed for proper follow-through. Next, I hop on the wood weight machine. This is good for building endurance without the joint stress of regular running, promotes proper sprint mechanics, helping the mound explosiveness, and improves aerobic base, which helps the late game velocity and control. I do both of those workouts before every main workout in the gym every time I go. After those, I do Y, T's, W's, L's, and I's. These are good for strengthening the smaller stabilizing muscles around the shoulder blade, counters forward shoulder posture, improving throwing mechanics, and targeting rotator cuff, critical for long-term arm health. Next, I do supine overhead med-ball tosses, which is good for building upper body power in a safe and controlled movement plane, core bracing to stabilize during the explosive toss, great for transfer to pitching, and mimics explosive arm motion in a horizontal plane without high stress. Lastly, I finish my main workout of the day with landmine rotations. This is good for directly training the torso's ability to rotate powerfully, essential for pitching velocity, trains anti-rotational and rotational strength, key for deceleration and balance, and encouraging movement that mirrors the pitching kinetic chain. For my post lifts, I also do some mobility stretches such as quadruped end range heel lifts, which are good for enhancing control through end ranges of motion, encouraging proper engagement during pitching stride, and supporting joint integrity under load and movement. And I also do some kneeling splits, which is critical for stride length and proper finish position, lengthens tight muscle groups that can lead to compensations, and good for post-lift cooldowns. On Tuesdays, we're more leg heavy. I do dynamic 45-degree med throws, which train explosive rotational power directly transferring to throwing velocity, teach proper hip rotation followed by torso and arm mimicking the pitching motion, and develop fast twitch response and core strength under dynamic load. Next, I go into explosive weighted step-ups, which builds power and is crucial for generating force on the mound, reinforces glute and hamstring activation, supporting drive leg mechanics, and improves balance and knee stability during explosive movements, reducing injury risk. Then I move to deadlifts, which strengthens the posterior chain essential for power generation, builds overall full body explosiveness, especially hip extension speed used in pitching, and reinforces bracing and spinal alignment under heavy load, critical for staying strong and safe through delivery. After lifting, I start my post-lift core with full wipers, which is supported and unsupported for 1 minute. They increase rotational mobility through the hips and spine, helping with smoother pitching motion, build core control and oblique strength, supporting deceleration and trunk stability during delivery, and challenge anti-rotational strength and reinforce symmetrical core activation on both sides of the body. Finally, I finish with bird dogs for 1 minute. They build cross-body coordination between the hips and shoulders, crucial for kinetic chain efficiency, activate deep core stabilizers and improve postural alignment, and teach slow, controlled movement, great for reinforcing mechanics and injury prevention. On Wednesdays, I take it as I go, usually going on a light jog around the neighborhood or doing some sprints, which builds lower body explosiveness. On Thursdays, I start off by doing some dead hangs. It decompresses the spine and shoulders, improving joint health and posture, builds grip strength, which is essential for pitch control and bat handling, activates stabilizers in the upper body and rotator cuff, reducing injury risk. After that, I do some cable row variations, which builds mid and upper back strength, key for posture and arm path controlled during pitching, trains scapular retraction and shoulder stability, supporting healthy arm motion, and allows different angles to challenge the muscles. Next, I do some 45-pound plate lifts with some holds at the end. This improves shoulder endurance and control, mimicking the holding phase of the throwing motion, and builds time under tension strength in delts and reforms, and challenges grip and core stability while reinforcing vertical movement patterns. Then I go into single arm bench press. It builds unilateral upper body strength, correcting imbalances between arms, forces core engagement to stabilize the body during asymmetrical loading, and increases pressing power, which supports general upper body strength and throwing velocity. Finally, I finish off with some bicep curls, which strengthens the biceps, of course, which play a role in decelerating the arm after a throw, supports elbow joint stability, help protecting the UCL, and improves muscular endurance and arm durability over the course of a season. On Fridays, I would usually call this a high intent day because I first start off with a 20-minute incline on the treadmill, which improves lower body endurance and strengthens in the glutes, hamstrings, and calves under constant tension, and the incline adds a strength component, helping build leg drive for pitching. Next, I move into some Bulgarian split squats, which builds unilateral leg strength, which directly supports stride and landing mechanics on the mound, improves balance and hip stability, reducing the risk of knee or ankle breakdown during delivery, and increases mobility through the hips and ankles while strengthening the glutes and quads. Finally, I go into some squats. These develop overall lower body power and explosiveness, fueling push-off from the mound. They engage the entire posterior chain, including glutes, hamstrings, and core, essential for velocity, and build joint stability and full body coordination, which transfers to more efficient, injury-resistant movement patterns. And now Saturday, which I fully dedicate to mobility training. First, I start with seated barbell rotations, which increase thoracic spine mobility, helping with smooth, controlled trunk rotation, strengthen the obliques and deep core muscles used in pitching, and improve separation between the hips and shoulders, key for velocity and injury prevention. After that, I do some seated barbell good mornings. This exercise stretches and strengthens the hamstrings, glutes, and lower back through controlled movement, and improves posterior chain mobility and resilience, supporting health and deceleration mechanics. Next, I do Jefferson curls, which increase spinal mobility, especially through the lower back and hamstrings, builds control through deep ranges of motion, which reduces stiffness and injury risk, and enhances flexibility without sacrificing strength, helping maintain fluid pitching motion. Finally, I finish with some box drops into frog jumps. This trains landing mechanics and reactive power, mimicking mound-to-ground force abruption, build explosive hip extension, key for fast and powerful push-offs, and improve neuromuscular coordination and quickness in the lower half. With all these workouts, I made sure to also eat a lot of healthy meals for breakfast, including a lot of yogurt and protein. Alright, now that all that's out of the way, let's take a look at the first few appearances of my summer season. So this was my first outing of the season right here. So luckily on the first pitch, I was able to get a strike looking. Since I got him looking on that pitch, I decided to go with the same pitch again, maybe a little bit higher up, and I got the call. On the third pitch, I decided to go with a changeup, but it ended up being a little bit low for ball one. On the 1-2 pitch, I decided to go with a little bit of a quick pitch out of the windup, but it ended up being a little upstairs, 2-2. And now with the hitter expecting maybe an off-speed pitch, I decided to go with the first pitch I threw with a fastball right down the middle, and he decided to look at it for strike 3, 1 out. Now at the next batter, I decided to go with an up-high fastball sidearm, and he went ahead and fouled it off. Now, on the 0-1 pitch, I went ahead and threw one right down the middle, which is probably not the best idea. Maybe to jam him would have been the best idea, but he grounded it right up the middle for a base hit. So now the runner on first, the batter decided to go for the bunt, so I threw a fastball on the outside corner, which was called a ball. I decided to throw over just to check on the runner as well. With the batter squaring the bunt, I threw one down the middle just to try to get the out at first, but the runner ended up taking off anyways, and the throw was a little high and couldn't get him. Now with the count 1-1, I decided to throw one a little bit outside for strike 2. Now on the 1-2 pitch, I decided to throw a curveball to bounce, seeing if the batter was swing and miss, but he laid it off for ball 2. With the count 2-2, the batter went ahead and fouled off the next pitch and then took one right outside for ball 3 to make it a full count. And now the 3-2 pitch, I threw one very close, just like the last pitch, and even the batter thought it was strike 3, but it ended up being ball 4. Overall, not a good call. So now I got runners on first and second with 1 out. Next up, it's my dear friend Nico Versus, and he takes one right on the outside corner for ball 1. Another pitch that I thought was a strike. Now I went ahead and threw a sidearm fastball a little bit up to get the strike call. No, maybe a bit of a generous call by the umpire there. 1-1. With the 1-1 count, the runner on second went ahead and took off, but as he took off, Nico grounded one right back to me, and I went ahead and picked it up, but kind of lollygagged it back to first, and the runner all the way from second base scored. So the message there is maybe pick up the ball a little faster and get the ball to first a little faster, so maybe the runner could stay at third, or maybe check on him. That's on me right there. Run comes home. And now we got the lefty up with a runner on third and 2 outs. First pitch, I threw an over-the-top fastball a little up for strike 1. Now at the 0-1 pitch, maybe I tried to throw a curveball there. I can't really remember, but it bounced for ball 1. Now on the 1-1 pitch, I went ahead and went back to the over-the-top fastball to get strike 2, and that was clocked at 72 miles an hour, my fastest pitch of the night. Yeesh. Now at the 1-2 count, I tried to go away with the pitch, but he ended up fouling it back. And the next pitch, I ended up throwing another over-the-top fastball, which he flied out to left for the 3rd out. So that was my performance for the first game. But now we got an even bigger day the next day, 2 games coming up, and I'm pitching in both of them. First pitch of the next day, I go ahead and throw a sidearm fastball a little bit up to get the swing and the miss for strike 1. Since he had a hard time hitting that one, I decided to go maybe a little bit more inside and throw a sidearm fastball there to get him to foul. 0-2. And now at the 0-2 pitch, I had a perfect execution for a sidearm changeup that will sink down for strike 3, and I did just that. 1 out. The next batter, I go ahead and throw an inside sidearm fastball to maybe get him looking, but I ended up throwing it a little bit too inside and high, ball 1. Since he didn't budget that, I threw a more outside pitch for strike 1. And for the third pitch of the bat, I went ahead and threw a pitch right down the middle. He ended up getting on top of it, and he grounded right to my third baseman. 2 outs. For some reason, you'll start noticing a pattern here, where whenever I get 2 outs, I'll start struggling to get my third out. And I ended up hitting it. Runner on first, 2 outs. Now at this batter, I threw another inside sidearm fastball to get him to get a foul. Now I tried to do a slide step there, and he went ahead and hit it right into the gap with a single. Now runners on first and second with 2 outs. Now at the 5th batter of the inning, I went ahead and threw another inside pitch, and he just got an absolute sword at that. 0-1. 0-1, I throw a sidearm fastball low. So then I went to go ahead and clip the outside corner for strike 2, but I ended up not getting the call. This is going to be a pattern throughout the video. And now the 2-1 pitch, I went ahead and threw another one low, and he ended up fouling it. 2-2. And now in the 2-2 pitch, I decided to go over the top and maybe get him to swing over an over-the-top fastball. And I thought I got the corner there, but again, the umpire did not call it. Could have been strike 3. And now on a 3-2 count, he went ahead and hit it to my third base side. Very slow roller. My third baseman did not end up getting it, and now the bases are juiced with 2 outs. So for the next batter, I went ahead and threw strike 1 on the outside corner. On the very next pitch, I went ahead and tried to throw the same pitch, but missed, and he ended up hitting it right into the gap for a run to score. Now, mind you, this was a save situation. We were only up 5-2. So now that was the third run. 5-3. And now with the lefty up, my coach was telling me to only throw sidearm. So at this point, I had to listen to him. I threw a sidearm fastball, and he hit it right to the center fielder. Another run scores, and now it's 5-4. And now demon time approaches. I'm pissed, and I really want to get this third out without a run scoring. So I went ahead and threw an over-the-top fastball up, and he went ahead and fouled it back. Now, knowing that he fouled it back and he was late on it, I decided to throw it again, and he fouled it back just like the last one. And now the count is quickly 0-2, and I have the perfect execution to throw a sidearm changeup to fool him. And I did just that. I got him to swing over the changeup, and I got the save 5-4. I don't think that performance was the best, but it's a little bit of a learning experience. What works and what doesn't work, and again, precise pitching location. Know where to put the ball at specific times. Now let's take a look at the second game of the doubleheader. So the first pitch of my second inning, I went in and threw right down the middle, and I was expecting him to go bunt anyways. And he put down the bunt, but he squared back for strike 1. And now at the 0-1 pitch, I decided to go right back at it, see if he would bunt. And he didn't budget that one, so it ended up being an 0-2 count. And now at the 0-2 pitch, I went ahead and tried to throw a changeup outside, which he actually went ahead and grounded over to second to get the out for 1 out. First pitch of the second batter, I went ahead and went inside on him with a sidearm fastball, and he fouled it into the mid for strike 1. On the righties, I try to go with the sidearm fastball as much as possible inside because I want them to get jammed. Next pitch, I did the exact same thing, went inside on him, and he fouled it off. Now on the 0-2 pitch, I tried to go upstairs with an over-the-top fastball, but I ended up throwing it outside for ball 1. And then with another sidearm fastball to go inside on him, I jammed him again, and he grounded right back to the second baseman for the second out. Now again, take a look at what happens with 2 outs here. Here comes another lefty. So for this pitch, I went over the top with a fastball, but he ended up hitting it to shortstop, which could have been a good play, but it ended up going past him for the base hit. Runner on first, 2 outs. So then I tried to pick off the runner a few times because he was taking a pretty healthy lead. But then I went ahead and threw a pitch right down the middle. Again, maybe a little bit low, but I could have gotten the call, but the umpire didn't give it to me. I then went ahead and threw an inside fastball to him to try to jam, and I did just that. 1-1. And now at the 1-1 pitch, I accidentally put it right down the middle for him to go ahead and hit an opposite field gapper to bring home the tying run of the game. Not good. So now it's time to try to go back on demon mode and just get this third out. First pitch, I threw it a little bit high for strike 1. Now at the 0-1 pitch, I went ahead and threw him another pitch just like that, and it got right back to me. A great athletic play by me to go and get the out at first. Let's go to the next inning. Now on to the next inning, I went ahead and threw to the left-hand batter an over-the-top fastball, and ended up hitting it into foul territory. My left fielder made a spectacular catch, which wasn't on video, but I immediately threw my hands into the air, showing how happy I was for the play. Now at the first pitch of the second batter, I went outside again on this guy, maybe trying to get the strike, and I didn't get the call again. 1-0, I decided to just put it a little bit right down the middle, and I got the call. And with the count 1-1, I threw one the exact same way, and he hit it up the gap for a base hit. Not a good idea. Next, with the lefty up, I went ahead and threw over the top again, but it was a little outside for ball 1. And the next pitch, I was able to clip the inside corner for strike 1. Now at the count 1-1, I decided to maybe freeze him again with another fastball a little high, and I did just that. Now the count's 1-2. So with the count 1-2, I decided to go with the side sidearm changeup, maybe to change the location of his eyesight, but I threw it a little too low for 2-2. Now at the count 2-2, I went right back to the fastball up, and I got him to swing and miss for strike 3, 2 outs. Now the next batter up, I want to get another first pitch strike, so I went inside on him with the fastball at sidearm, and I got the strike. Now at the count 0-1, I wanted to throw another pitch, but the runner ended up taking off. I got the swing and the miss, but the throw was a little high, and the guy was safe at second. So now the 0-2 count, I tried to get the changeup, and I definitely clipped the corner there, but I didn't get the call by the umpire. Again. 1-2. So now with 1-2, I tried to go ahead and went over the top again, and I thought I clipped the corner there too, but it was a little outside 2-2. And now at the count 2-2, I went ahead and trying to throw one outside, but I ended up throwing it right down the middle. Flew out to left field for the out, and I was pumped. Going to extras, tie game. Now, unfortunately, I was on a bit of a pitch count to be eligible for the next game in the next few days, so I was only allowed to have 11 pitches. Let's see how this goes. First pitch to this batter, I definitely missed low on this one, 1-0. Then on the 1-0 pitch, I went ahead and tried to go over the top, but I ended up missing high for 2-0. The first time this entire game where I've been down the count. The next pitch, he ended up fouling off to make it 2-1. And now the 2-1 count, I decided to take a bit of a longer hold and then get the strike. So now at the 2-2 pitch, I went ahead and went back to the changeup low, but he ended up fouling it off. And now still 2-2, I went ahead and tried to clip the outside corner, but I ended up missing low and down 3-2. So now trying to prohibit the walk, I went ahead and tried to clip a corner, and he ended up hitting it right to right field for the base hit. Thus, my day was done. So wrapping up the day, I ended up throwing 42 strikes out of 56 pitches. Not bad at all. But work still needs to be done. And when I say that, I'm mainly talking about my velocity. Remember how I said I only topped out at 72 miles an hour in that first outing? Well, like I mentioned in the beginning, the D3 average is 82 to 85 miles an hour, about a 10 mile an hour difference. So what can I do about it? Well, I went ahead and purchased some Plyo balls. Specifically, I purchased a Marv Training Velo set. This includes a 2 pound, 1 pound, 10 ounce, 7.5 ounce, 5 ounce, and 3 ounce ball. With the 2 pound ball, I do reverse throws, which helps strengthen the decelerator muscles and build arm path awareness, and they're great for improving shoulder stability and reinforcing a clean, connected arm pattern. For the 1 pound ball, I do pivot pickoff throws, which train proper hip-shoulder separation and improve rotational sequencing. This drill promotes efficient energy transfer and lays the foundation for building velocity. With a 10 ounce ball, I do roll and throws, which are useful for syncing up my lower half and my arm path. They create rhythm and timing while putting my body in a more natural throwing motion. With a 7.5 ounce ball, I do rocker throws, which emphasize trunk rotation and weight shift. These help develop proper direction and force application from the ground up. With the 5 ounce ball, which is the same weight as a normal baseball, I do pull down throws, which are all about intent and max output. These throws challenge me to throw as hard as possible while maintaining good mechanics. And lastly, with the 3.5 ounce ball, I do step behind throws, which increase arm speed due to the underload effect, and this lighter ball allows me to train faster arm turnover and get used to moving explosively. This plow routine is designed to target different parts of the throwing motion: arm path, sequencing, mobility, and intent, so I can build a more efficient and powerful delivery. It's not a quick fix, but it's a focused step towards closing that 10 mile an hour gap and competing at the level I know I'm capable of. We could take a look at my improvements at the end of this video. So now I want to show you one of the few outings that I had that I'm very happy about. Now mind you, the lines down the left and right field line are only 216 feet each way. Yes, you heard me correctly. And that means it's really easy to hit home runs there. So let me give you a quick rundown. First pitch of the game, strike right down the middle. Second pitch, I swing and a miss. Third pitch, tried a curveball outside, didn't work. And the fourth pitch, I got the strikeout over the top. First pitch of the next at bat, foul ball. Second pitch, same thing. Third pitch, sidearm, he got a little late on it, flew out to my left fielder for the second out. First pitch to the third batter, strike. Second pitch, a little down looking. Outside ball 2. Outside ball 3. In there for strike 2. A hit to right field. My right fielder fields it and gets the out at first for the third out. First pitch of the second inning, strike 1. Second pitch fouled off over the top. Third pitch, outside. Fourth pitch, somehow missed. 2-2. Liner to my shortstop, he gets the out. First pitch to the second batter, popped up right back at me, and I make the catch. First pitch to the third batter, got him looking on strike 1. Second pitch, curveball outside. Third pitch, fouled off. Fourth pitch up. Next pitch outside. Pitch after that, pop up to my center fielder, and he makes the catch. 3 outs. First pitch to the next batter, foul. Second pitch, swing and a miss. Third pitch, way up. And the fourth pitch, a swing and a miss. 1 out. Next batter, swing and a miss. 1 inside. 1-1 up. Fly ball in between center field and shortstop, and there's a hit. First pitch to the lefty inside. Second pitch, demolished to right field for a home run. Now, I'll be honest, that ball was definitely going to be out anyways, even at a regular ballpark, so yeah, not good. First pitch to the next batter, swing and a miss. Second pitch, looking, strike 2. Next pitch, right in front of my second baseman, he couldn't make the play. Next batter, foul ball. Second pitch up. Third pitch, foul. Outside fastball. And a swinging strikeout. 2 outs. Next batter, upstairs fastball. And of course with that, I make the same mistake, and he goes deep. But I will say, this ball would be caught anywhere else. Again, the fence in right field is only 216 feet. Next batter, first pitch outside. Next pitch popped up between me and my catcher, and we both drop it, bad communication. And now take a look at this. That batter had pine tar all the way up to his barrel, and the umpires went ahead and take a look, and he was called out. But with the good outings comes the bad outings. Over the next 2 games, I managed to walk 6 batters, hit a batter, and throw 61 pitches with only 27 strikes, which is very uncharacteristic for me. Watch as I'm on the turf mound slipping, having a sloppy release point, and my body language is just really poor. Yeah, so there's definitely a bunch of reasons why that happened. I don't want to just blame the mound I was on because it was turf and that I was wearing sneakers, because later that day I did end up buying turf shoes for about $80 on Amazon. As a pitcher, you got to recognize the little things in between. Am I pulling the ball, or am I just not locating it right? And that's something I would have to work on for the next few weeks. Take a look at this video of me and my coach working in the facility about how to roll the ball off my hands while throwing sidearm.
You're doing this with your hand.
Like a bowling ball.
Right. Up. Let it down. Let it drop. Keep your hand wrist cocked.
But hold on a second. Not all things are going to turn into the best. Unfortunately, I sprained a ligament in my right ring finger, not while throwing or lifting, but while celebrating. I was running out of the dugout after a walk-off hit, and I accidentally bumped into my teammate, and something how I landed or just planted, I just caught my finger wrong. And as a result, I'm out for 2 weeks and have to adjust some of my workouts to protect the injury. On Mondays, most of my training stays the same, but I've added half-kneeling single-arm cable rows. This movement trains scapular control and shoulder stability, which are critical for repeatable health throwing mechanics. The half-kneeling position adds a core and hip stability component, helping reinforce posture and trunk alignment in the throwing motion. And it's also a low grip stress exercise, so I can keep training my upper body without aggravating the finger. I also added some weighted supine leg lifts. These develop lower core strength, which is essential for maintaining a stable trunk during explosive movements like pitching. They help reinforce hip flexor control, supporting proper leg lift and balance on the mound. And doing them weighted adds resistance under control, mimicking the need to control force through the body during delivery. On Tuesdays, the only major adjustment I need to make is replacing the deadlifts, which requires a strong grip. Instead, I do sled pushes with minimal load on my finger. They build leg drive and horizontal force production, directly translating to how you explode off the mound. They develop core bracing and posture under load, essential for maintaining your line down the mound. And because your hands stay in a fixed position, they put minimal stress on the injured finger, allowing productive lower body work without risk. Wednesdays stay the same for now. Thursdays, however, need a bigger reset. Here's my revised upper body lift. I start with single arm tricep pull downs. These strengthen the triceps, which are crucial for elbow extension, and finish in the throwing motion. The single arm version allows unilateral work, addressing strength imbalances between arms. And it also avoids overload the injured finger while still isolating arm muscles that contribute to throwing. Then I go into isometric single arm cable holds. These develop shoulder and scapular stability under tension, helping control the arm throughout the delivery. It's great for joint control and injury prevention, especially during recovery periods. And it also trains core bracing and endurance, since you have to resist rotation and collapse while holding the cable. Next, I do cable single arm front raises. These target the interior deltoid, important for controlling arm lift and deceleration in pitching. The cable provides constant tension, which builds control through the entire range of motion, and the single arm variation reinforces asymmetrical control, which is similar to how the body loads during a pitch. Finally, I wrap up with rope hammer curls. These strengthen the forearm muscles, which support the elbow and help stabilize the arm through release. Rope grip reduces direct pressure on the injured finger while still allowing arm work, and it also supports grip strength and wrist stability, both important for pitch control and spin efficiency. And on Fridays and Saturdays, those say the same as well. Even with the finger injury, I'm not hitting pause, I'm adjusting. These changes keep me progressing without making things worse, and they're helping me stay locked in for when I'm ready to get back on the mound. And with that being said, I have just about fully recovered from my injury. And that means it's time to hop back on the mound against some live hitters. For this session of live at-bats, I faced a few guys I coached this summer along with the A-Dog. Before I show you, I just want to point out that this is my first time throwing a 100% bullpen and facing live batters in over a month. First, against Kellen. He put up a good fight, although I could tell he was late on my fastball quite a bit. Although he had a bit of a hard time with timing disruptions, which I knew could get him uncomfortable in the box. Oh, and he also popped out, but still wanted the perfect treatment. So, here you go, Kellen. Next, against Kenny. One thing I kept noticing about Kenny was that he was consistently late or under my fastball. Even when I hung a changeup that was supposed to bounce, he still didn't hit it. I will say though, he got close a few times and at one point even hit a great ground ball. Third, we had the almighty A-Dog up, but unfortunately, things didn't go well for him. Just take a look. Lastly, I faced Luke. Luke was definitely the hardest hitter I faced out of all these guys, and he never once gave up with these live at-bats, making solid contact. I did get him to miss a few times, but at the end, he picked up my horribly placed curveball and took it into the gap. In total for this session, I threw 89 pitches, with 61 of them being strikes. I was very happy with my command and location despite falling behind a few times. First pitch strikes are always important because they immediately put the hitter in a defensive, give the pitcher control of the at-bat, and statistically lead to weaker contact and higher chance of getting outs. Before I end this video, I want to go back to the Velo program I showed you guys earlier and show you how much I've improved despite being injured for a month. In the beginning of the summer, I couldn't even reach 75 miles an hour, and during the session I just did, I was able to hit 78.6 miles an hour. My new PR. That is a huge difference. And it isn't just about the Velo program. It's all about the workouts I've also been doing along the way. So what are you waiting for? Just go out and do the work and get better. The results will take care of themselves when the effort comes first. But it's not all about how fast you throw. As the great Greg Maddux once said, location is more important than velocity. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please subscribe.